Hi everybody, Jack O'Malley with my weekly update. Today I'm coming to you a little more casual from the Capitol as we do not have session today. So I've got meetings with folks on childcare. Gosh, I don't even know. It's going to be a sort of full day. I hope to get out of here a little bit earlier today and get home and see the missus. So I'm glad to have that happen. But full weekend of events and things like that too. So. I want to talk to you just about like two issues this week because I think they're both very important in kind of different ways. So I'll just start. This Tuesday, we passed out of the House and the Senate by 2/3 majorities, which we had to do. What were the votes on that? It passed in the House 76-28 and in the Senate 26-6. And what this did was we now have put on the November ballot a proposal that would alter term limits in the state of Michigan. Now, there's a lot of hue and cry about how terrible that is. And I'm going to talk about it a little. And I have talked about this. Go back and watch my my updates for a couple of well, even when I was on the radio, I talked about this. But this does not eliminate term limits. Actually, it shortens it. Right now, with 3 2-year terms in the House and 2 4-year terms in the Senate, that's a total of 14 years. This bill would say it's not 14 years anymore, it's 12. So we've reduced the amount of time you can spend in the legislature by 2 years. It's 12. But here's the key difference. You can serve them in either house. If the people, remember, everybody, the ultimate term limits is you, the voter. So if the people of your district keeps reelecting you, you could be in the House for 6 2-year terms. I think, as I remember, prior to term limits, I read somewhere the average length of time anyone stayed in the House was 8, maybe it was 10 years. But it was, it wasn't that massive. There were some. I'm not saying term limits is a bad idea. But what we found is, and there's a guy who helped lead the original term limits. And I will say, back in 1992, I voted for term limits because I thought, get the bums out of there. And again, a big part of that was because we were, you got the Nancy Pelosi's, the Mitch McConnells, the John Dingles, 60 years as a representative, but his people kept sending him back, right? So anyway, this guy by the name of Patrick Anderson. Never heard of him until this bubbled back up. But he was one of the founders of the term limit proposal. And here's a quote from him. I love this quote. "The stench of this will last all the way to November. Changing the Michigan Constitution with no notice, without a single citizen seeing the text in advance, is a disgrace." Well, Mr. Anderson, I respect you. 30 years ago, you got term limits going here. But are you so arrogant that you think after 30 years we don't need to adjust something? Are you saying that you got it so perfectly right 30 years ago that this should be enshrined forever? What if it needs an adjustment, sir? Think about this. The United States Constitution, which is, I think, is a pretty amazing document, has been amended too. So, Mr. Anderson, with all due respect to you, sir, lighten up a little bit. And here's the other thing. We, as a House and a Senate, did nothing other than give you, the citizens, the opportunity to vote on this. We didn't extend anything. We didn't shorten anything. We didn't put a fancy little hat on anything. We're saying to the people of the state of Michigan, look, as the people who are here, and I'm saying this to the people of Michigan, if we want to really fix Michigan, we have to extend term limits. Because when you are here, it takes, the first term, you're just figuring out how the system works. The second term, which I'm in, now you kind of got things and you're moving and you know people and people know you and you can work with and you know who is working hard and who isn't. And then the third term, you're a lame duck and nobody really wants to talk to you, right? You know what I mean? So that's kind of the lifespan. The other thing that I've heard about before getting in here, and I have seen, departments can wait you out if you're, somebody in a department who's been here 15 years, you got to be here another 15. You wait a couple of years to get this idea to blow by or not have happen, or we pass a law or something that says this department has to file this report. Well, then it doesn't happen. Well, I'm gone. The newbies don't know that this has even really happened, right? So there's no institutional knowledge. So all this bill does one other thing. It would bring financial disclosure into the House, the Senate, and the Secretary of State, Governor, and Attorney General. And I'm not, Nelson Rockefeller here, right? That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But hopefully then it does give people some of that. Yeah, they're all dirty. They're all taking payments. Like I say, if I sell my soul for a club sandwich at lunch to some lobbyist, no, sorry. I like club sandwiches, but I'm not selling my soul to a lobbyist for one. But the point is, when you hear all the hue and cry about, oh, this is terrible, they shouldn't be doing it, they throw the bums out 6 years. Think about it. Take a minute and discuss it and look at it. Because I'm telling you, education, one of my things that I want to try and make a mark on here. I've been on education for 4 years. I'm just now figuring it out. Education, term limits, in my opinion, if you care about education in the state of Michigan, term limits has been its number one arch enemy, because there are so many groups that have their fingers in to education. It takes time to figure out who's who. And to make real change in education, I don't have time. I'm gonna keep trying, obviously, keep rowing that boat. But 6 years isn't enough. So this legislation, we did not extend anything. We're putting it to the vote of the people. And if saying the people of Michigan should look at this and tell us what you want to do you think this is asking the people to vote on something? If that's wrong, then we're in bigger trouble than I thought. So this would have financial disclosure for this House and the Senate, Governor, Attorney General, Secretary of State, plus it would say go from 14 to 12 years that you could be in the legislature, but you can serve them any way you want. So I get elected to the House. Now I'm not fighting to try and jump to the Senate to be able to stay here to finish off child care or whatever it is, education things that I'm working on. I could stay in the House and do that. Or you can just run for the Senate, right? So that would then give me 6 2-year terms in the House, 3 4-year terms in the Senate. So that's what that is all about. So when you read about it, you hear about it, this is one of those things, might be counterintuitive, but this is one of those things that we need to do to actually fix the state. The other thing we've got is a massive turnover. Every 2 years, a big chunk of institutional knowledge walks out the door. Gone. Think about it. It'll be on the ballot in November. You decide yes or no. Think about it. We'll keep talking about it. As I see any kind of arguments come up or questions, I'll try to answer them. And because I think this is what the state needs. We're not doing away with term limits. We're just adjusting them. So, Mr. Anderson, pipe down a little bit here. You didn't get it so perfect 30 years ago, and I voted for it 30 years ago. I see now where it needs an adjustment. All right. The other thing I want to talk about, because I think it's very important for my district, the 101st, and the district, the realigned district that I'll be running for in the fall. This is something that I don't know if it got its start with the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance, but I know that over the last few years they have been a major champion of this. And Governor Whitmer did it, and I think it's a good thing. She has created in the Department of Rural Development and Agriculture and Rural Development, a rural development director. and they just announced her. It's a new position. Sarah Lucas is her name. And her job, well, here's what it says. The office would be focused on reaching out to talk with rural communities to see what their needs are. And she thinks workforce, housing, and broadband connectivity are her big jumps right to start. And I think this is very important because I'm telling you, as your representative, coming into this seat, it's something that I always, kind of thought, but when I got here, I knew it was true. And that is rural Michigan. Things here, and I don't think it's always done with some nefarious reason, but it's just the way it is. Rural Michigan gets kind of shortchanged because we don't have as many representatives, all right? And I'll explain that in a second. So bills and things are written with a downstate, that southern third angle, because, Macomb County, I think is 10 representatives, just that one county. Knuckles North, from Clare North, we have 13 representatives. So when you put Oakland and Macomb County together, we're outvoted, right? And I'm not picking on them. They're just, Kent County's got a lot. The point is, there's 13 of us in the House fighting for all of that territory. The UP, Northern Lower, Mid-Michigan. This director now sits in the office of the governor, which, whether it be Whitmer or whoever down the road, they would be there to say, hey, wait a minute here. Rural Michigan needs this, or to help advocate for us so that when your representatives, House and Senate, are pushing for things, we now have some assistance in the administrative branch. So I'd like to see how this works out. I have not met Ms. Lucas, but I hear really good things about her. And I know that this was a big push for the last several years from the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance, and those are chambers from Manistee all the way up to Marquette. So that's a lot of rural territory there. So I'm very optimistic. We'll see how this all pans out, but I'm going to start out optimistic. I'm not going to try and pan this, that, or the other, and I hope it works. So I know that is very important for Northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. The folks that might be viewing this in Detroit or Grand Rapids or whatever might not really, big deal. It is a big deal if it goes well. We'll see. So that's what I got for you this week. I know you're going to see and hear and wonder, but remember, when it comes to this ballot proposal that we've put on the ballot, we're saying, let the people decide. Let us make our case, which I think I just did. Let us make our case to our constituents, and then the people can decide. And there is nothing wrong with letting the people decide. So that's where I'm at. All right. Hey, I'm going to head out of here. We'll check in next week. Again, if you have any issues, I realized on the Facebook page, if you need to get in touch with the office, all the contact information is up in the header on the Facebook page too. Office, email, that sort of thing. So please don't hesitate if you're in the district and you have some questions. All right. I'm out of here. Have a great weekend. Looks like the weather is going to be fantastic. Take care.